decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. No turning back. No turning back. The cross before us, the world behind us. The cross before us, the world behind us. The cross before us, the world behind us. No turning back, no turning back. I have decided to follow Jesus, the real Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. No turning back. No turning back. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hallelujah. I feel them in my shanana, as the old people would say. So good to be alive this morning. So good to have the use and activity of my limbs today. I stretched out my toes and everything worked. I wiggled my fingers and everything worked. I blinked and everything worked. I could still see relatively well and everything worked. Hello? Went to the restroom and everything worked. Yeah, I'm not taking any of that for granted today. So good morning to each and every one of you. Welcome to Daring Dialogues. I'm your host, Shantae Charles. I hope that you are having a great and wonderful day already, and that anything that I'm going to say is going to add to your day and not take away from it. Today we are talking about relationships, and I'm on 10. I'm just telling you, I'm on 10 because I've had lots of conversations with the Lord this morning, and Lady Latoya, I don't think she's on here yet, but Lady Latoya posed a really good question, and I had already been dealing with some of that, but her question just helped me to put into writing some things that I've experienced. So hopefully they will help you in your own relationships. I'm also gearing up for August, which is the start of my new coaching sessions. Soul Freedom Session 3, where we're going to be dealing with relationships all month, and we're going to be digging deep. And so I'm excited for those who have signed up for that challenge, the challenge to the norm, the challenge to old systems, old ways of thinking, old ways of processing. I believe that God is going to do something wonderful among them, and He's already been doing it. Every session that I have, every coaching session that I have, each round goes higher and higher, and God does something supernatural in my own life through the process of those sessions. So I'm always open to God doing them. And so I just open myself up for August, and I say, here I am, Lord, excavate me. I know some people want to say, here am I, Lord, send me. But some of us need excavation before we go be sent anywhere. So here am I, Lord, excavate me, so that when you send me, I have something to say. When you send me, I have something to share. When you send me, I have something to impart. When you send me, I have some healing to release into wherever you send me. And so, yes, I'm on 10 because I'm about to go in. So we do have books today. I cannot guarantee that we're going to get to the books. I have them here. I know exactly the sections I want to read today, but I got to touch on a couple of things first in terms of relationships, because when God wakes me up and starts having a conversation with me about some things, you guys get to get the overflow of that conversation. I don't tell you everything he tells me, but I will share with you some things that he said. You can go ahead and share this on the broadcast today. So I'm on 10 and I'm about to go in. Number one, the number one thing God said to me this morning as I woke up, he said, tell them to stop discounting their family. He told me first. Now I'm telling you. Stop discounting your family. What does he mean by that? Stop discounting the blessing of your family. Stop discounting the blessing of familial connection. Stop discounting the gifts and the talents and the skills that are sitting right amongst your family members. But many times you wouldn't know they are there unless you had the conversation. Unless you actually sat down and had conversation with your family. I'm not going to talk about anybody else's family. I'm just going to talk about mine. All right? In my family, these are the things that I know is already in my family based on conversations I've had. All right? In my family, we have financial analysts. We have insurance agents. We have real estate brokers. We have dancers and artists. We have people who work in publishing. We have people who work in music, who have worked with well-known people in music industry. We have architects in my family. We have designers in my family. In other words, it's in your family. Some of you just need to have a sit-down conversation about what is already in your family that you are looking for outside of the family grounds. All right? The second thing he told me to tell some of y'all is you need to put your family on. I said, okay. Can you explain that, Lord? Can you explain that a little bit more? And Lady Latoya, glad you're on this morning because I'm going to answer your question because the Lord gave me in detail the answer to your question. He said, it is time to put your family on and support them. It is time to put your family on and support them. And immediately, I'm going to tell you whose face he brought to my mind. Immediately, he brought the Wayans family to my mind. And I actually looked up, the Wayans family. And if you all remember, everybody, well, I won't say everybody, especially if you're Generation Z, but many of us, all right, who are maybe millennials and older, remember the show In Living Color, right? Raise your hand if you remember In Living Color, all right? And if you noticed in that show, it was the Wayans brothers, all right? Yeah, it was the Wayans brothers. At some point, we almost thought that Jamie Foxx was their brother because, he was cutting the food just as much as they were, right? But people knew that if you saw one, you were probably going to see the other. Or if you saw one being cast for something, you were probably going to see the others being cast. And so they became, to me, one of the iconic families that was sort of doing the arts and theater and comedy at the time. Now, they may not be as popular now, but that was the immediate person that God brought to my mind to say, this is a principle. Yes, and one Sister Kim. Yes, this is a principle. All right? One brother didn't just go out there and do well and didn't open the door for everyone who carried that same gift and skill to come with him. Can God get some of you all to take your family with you? Yeah. Not all of you are Abraham, okay? Not all of you are supposed to leave your family behind, your kindred and all of that, and go to a place. Some of you all are actually supposed to take your family with you. I'm going to let that sink in. I'm going to let that sink in. I'm going to let that sink in some more. Some of you all are supposed to be like Naomi, who gave the daughters an option. Do you want to stay here or do you want to come? Do you want to ride with me or do you want to stay here? Do you want to evolve or do you want to return to your past? Yeah. Number 3. Then he asked the question, why do you keep going outside of your family for resources that are within your family? Who has convinced you that because it's your family, you're not going to necessarily get the quality thing? Yeah, no one else is saying it because God just told me this morning, so I'm just being obedient. I want to stay in the lane of obedient blessings. You know, the blessings that just follow your life because you're doing what God told you to do. That's where I'm at right now, and that's where I want to stay. So he asked the question, why do you keep going outside of your family? And then he said something that just, oh Lord, just slice. He said, sometimes people don't respect you because they see that you value everyone over your own. Let me sip my coffee right there. He said, some of you all are looking for respect, but many times you don't get respect because people see that you value everyone else over your own. Now he's talking about Black people collectively who many times operate under the theory that white ice is colder. In other words, someone in the Black community can be offering you the same exact good and service and product, and you'll go buy it from somebody else because you think white ice is colder. You have been trained that white is right or white is better. And so you have to untrain your mind. All right. And then people don't respect many of us because we see value over everyone. We value everyone over our own, specifically within our families. And so I asked God to forgive me. I started repenting. And I said, Lord, let me not overlook people in my own family who can offer me the same goods and services that someone else outside of my family can. So I am openly repenting. And if you feel like I have overlooked you and you are in my family, you have offered a good and a service and a product, and I have overlooked you, I'm asking you to forgive me. I'm also asking you to email me. Email me and inbox me what it is that you do. Because one thing that I have started doing is those that I know that have businesses in my family, when people are in need of those goods and services, I am referring my family members. Now, let me put a caveat on that. If you have a business or a good or a service, please make sure you are properly licensed and bonded. Yeah. And make sure you have examples of your work. And make sure you have references that you can give. All right. So this is not like put bootleg Johnny on. This is like put on the people that are skilled at what they do, and they have a proven track record of what they do. They're in your family. Make sure you give them the opportunity. And the thing that was brought back to my remembrance, I was having a conversation with my husband recently on this topic. And we were joking because we have several friends in the Jewish community. And anytime, and I do mean anytime, we ask them for anything, like a reference. Do you know of a good bakery around here? Do you know of a good pizza joint around here? Anything. They can give you a reference of a Jewish person who owns a business off the top of their head. They will give you a reference. And all of their references will be Jewish people. I kid you not. And I said to my husband, I said, I noticed that even if the person is not per se the most excellent, now they're good at what they do, but they may not be the most excellent at what they do. I noticed that the Jewish community will still refer them. And I looked at my husband, I said, these people are not even, I'm looking at the people in our community that we know are excellent in what they do. They're excellent in their craft. And I'm looking at my husband, I'm like, these people are not even excellent. They average. They're average at what they do, but the Jewish community will still refer them. I'm going to just let that sink in. They have learned to refer people to their own, even if they are still average. And I said to the Lord this morning, I said, why is that? I want to know. I personally want to know. Because this is what the Lord said. Some of y'all not going to like this. The Lord said they're going to make sure their people eat first. Let me sip my coffee again. You all are still trying to figure out how they keep their dollar in their community. Bouncing around, rotating. They keep their dollars circulating in their community. How do they do that? Because they're going to make sure their community eats first. They're going to make sure the families in their community eat first. They're going to make sure the families in their community eat first. One more time for the people in the cheap seats. They're going to make sure the people in their community eat first. So even if they may not be the Michael Jordan of pizzas, even if they might not be the LeBron James of bakeries, they're still going to make sure that that person gets customers sent to them. I know. Somebody gonna bypass that. It's gonna go right over your head. But the Lord said they're going to make sure their community eats first. Dr. Claude Anderson said it this way. He said, every other group practices group economics and they are praised for it. However, when the Black community practices group economics, they are shamed for it. And so, because people experience being shamed for practicing group economics that everyone else practices, we back up from group economics and we say, well, we got to give everybody a chance. I'm going to tell you what the Jewish community does. I challenge you. If you have a Jewish friend, go and ask them for some recommendations. Just go down the line. Ask them for recommendations and see who they recommend to you. If they recommend someone other than a Jewish person, email me. Because I can tell you that's not the norm. So when Black people practice group economics, we are shamed for it, or we're labeled as exclusionary. Yeah. So, another thing. Couple of minutes away from where I live, I won't tell you the retreat center because I don't want nobody knocking on my door uninvited. A couple minutes away from where I live, there is a beautiful retreat center. I went down there because somebody told me about it, and they were like, oh man, this is a great place, da da da. Go check it out. I went down there to check out this retreat center, and it's nice and wooded. It's literally like maybe 10 minutes away from the nearest grocery store, urban market, whatever. So you really have to go down there and make sure you have your food with you when you go, because you're not going to want to drive even 10 minutes out because it's so secluded and the roads are narrow and thin, and we don't need anybody driving off the cliff. And as I was driving in, the first thing I hit was the center, the name of the center. And turns out it's a Jewish retreat center. First word up there, Jewish. They didn't mince words. They weren't politically correct. They didn't just name it a retreat center. No, they said this is a Jewish retreat center. We want you to know it's owned by Jewish people and it's primarily for Jewish people. Nice little setup. Has apartments out there, has a basketball court. It has a whole farm in the back with homegrown food. Has a pool. Yeah, but it's specifically for Jewish people. Now, I did call and ask, who could rent it out. They rent it out periodically to other groups, but its primary use is for their people. Is anybody going to get mad? Is anybody going out there to stand in front of the Jewish retreat center and protest and say they shouldn't have something for themselves? I ain't seen it. I have not seen it. So we have to get to the place, and I'm speaking to Black people specifically right now, we have to get to the place to where we will not be shamed out of supporting our own. We have to get to the place where we don't care if people label us exclusionary for things that we need to do for ourselves and our community. Yeah. Gonna reiterate something the Lord told me today for the second half of the month, for the second half of the year, excuse me. He said, I am inviting people to live their best life for the second half of the year. How are you going to do that? I'm glad you asked. This is what he said, because I know some of you all are not on my personal page, but I just want to put the public service announcement out here. He said, do not fret over anyone who decided that you were not good enough to call, that you were not good enough to include, that you were not good enough to sincerely engage, that you were not good enough to respect, that you were not good enough to refer, that you were not good enough to promote, that you were not good enough to visit, that you were not good enough to seek out, and that you were not good enough to honor. Do not fret over that. Here's how you're going to live your best life for the rest of 2019. He said, do all of the things for yourself that you wish someone would have done for you. In other words, include yourself in things that benefit you. Engage yourself in activities that will bless your life. Respect yourself enough to not be disrespected. Refer yourself to get the proper help that you need for the second half of the year. Promote yourself. How do you promote yourself? By taking care of your health and your life and your mind and your mental capabilities and your creativity. Visit yourself. Please take yourself out for the second half of the year, please. Thank you. Amen. Hallelujah. Don't wait for nobody to come call you and ask you if you want to go somewhere. I've been wanting to play miniature golf for about 3 months now. Guess what I'm finna go do? I'm going to get out there on that course by myself. I'm going to take myself on a date and I'm going to go play miniature golf and I'm going to enjoy every bit of it. All right? Seek yourself out. Go inward. Do some internal work on your soul. Yes. And most importantly, honor yourself. My God, honor yourself. Honor your accomplishments. Honor what you have been getting done. If nobody comes over and pats you on the back for not eating 6 donuts a day, pat yourself on the back. Okay? If nobody pats you on the back for being consistent and getting your exercise regimen on, please go pat yourself on the back. Don't sit around here with your face like this, all right? Because somebody didn't acknowledge what you are doing to improve yourself. Again, do all of the things for yourself that you wish someone would have done for you. It's going to be a miraculous rest of the year. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be a miraculous rest of the year. I stand on that word because, what was it? Sunday, as we were driving out to our ancestral grounds, a car came directly toward us head on. Broad daylight. They were not stopping. Matter of fact, they didn't stop. We had to drive over to the side, and they kept driving on the same side of the road as us, and the people behind us ran into a ditch. Don't tell me God ain't good. You know why? Because I received this word before Sunday. It's going to be a miraculous rest of the year. So I'm excited. I'm not looking for anything to take me out of the path of the miraculous. Yeah. Somebody asked a question. This was another question before I get to the other one. So listen, all I have to say is when you're walking in obedience and you're on purpose and you're in purpose, even if death comes, it can't take you out. Somebody needs to hear that today. Someone needs to hear that today. Death cannot take you out in purpose. Some of you all have assignments that you are on, and some of you all are fearful of being taken out. Death cannot take you out if you're in purpose. It can look at you, it can talk to you, but it cannot take you out. So you have to know that. And you have to continue on the path and the course that God has set for you. Because I knew that I was supposed to be there in North Carolina. I rearranged my entire schedule so that I could be where I was supposed to be when I was supposed to be there. Who knows what would have actually happened had I been on another road, in another town, in another city, in another state. But because I was on that road, on the pathway to my destined point that God told me to get to, when death met me, it couldn't follow through. Somebody is going to get that a little later today. All right? Some of you are going to meet death several times, but if you're in purpose, it can't take you out. So, somebody asked a question about what happens when people turn on you. What happens when people turn on you? And this is where my thought came this morning. Some of you saw it on my page this morning. And I answered it this way. If a person knows you, all right, if they know you, no whisper can persuade them away from what their eyes have seen, what their heart has felt, and what their life has experienced with you. People who leave your life on a whisper, people who can be persuaded to drop you as a friend because somebody whispered in their ear, if they can be persuaded after They have seen with their eyes that you're a good person, you're a genuine person, you're an honest person, you're a sincere person. They have experienced with their heart. They know that they're supposed to be connected to you. They've even told you, oh, the Lord told me I'm supposed to be connected to you. I just smile when people say that. Because time and consistency will prove whether or not that's true. All right? Or they have actually experienced with you. They've never known you to be a lying person, a cheating person, a dishonest person. Right? If they can be persuaded after all of that, hashtag let them go. Because what you don't need is that kind of person in your life. That kind of person is dangerous. Listen, if you have seen me be a person of honesty and truth and realness and integrity, all right, and you're still allowing people to whisper in your ear things that are detrimental to our relationship, I'm going to need you to pack your bags, and I'm going to send you I'm going to have a goodbye party for you. Because I don't need that in my life. And you don't either. You don't need people who are wishy-washy about their relationship with you, because they will become a tool for the enemy. You will be over here being sincere and honest and truthful with them, and they will be taking all your sincerity, your honesty, and your truth, and they'll be feeding it to someone who has absolutely nothing good in mind for you. Those kinds of people, you just hashtag let them go. Give them the gift of goodbye. Let them lead their best life away from yours. Some of y'all think I'm serious. It's funny, but I'm serious. Let them lead their best life away from you. You don't need people who are undermining your relationship. You don't need people especially in your personal space, who can be undermined by people who have nothing good in mind for you. This is how people get set up. They get murdered, things, all of that, because they have people in their space who cannot make up their mind about them. I need people in my space, in my life, in my realm of influence, who have a made up mind about our friendship, our relationship, our business partnership, our covenant connection, whatever you want to call it. I need you to have a made up mind, because I don't have anybody in my personal space that I have not made up my mind about. So let them go if they are double-minded when it is concerning your life. Let them go. Doesn't mean you have to curse them. Doesn't mean you have to talk negative about them. Doesn't mean you have to go around warning people, hey, don't be associated with this. Nope, let them go. Time and consistency will prove all things. 2 issues for me came up this week when we talk about relationships. One was a betrayal of skill, and the other is a betrayal of wisdom. I'm going to explain both of them because I believe somebody has probably dealt with both of them and they didn't know what was happening. All right. Excuse me. So when I say the term betrayal of skill, what I'm talking about is being using your skill for something that goes against your conscience. Using your skills for something that goes against your conscience. I'll give you an example. I try not to ever do this, but I took on a project and the person was someone I knew. Now, normally, if someone wants me to edit work for them, I ask them to send me a sample of their work. That gives me an idea of your content. That gives me an idea of your writing skill. And that sort of gauges me on how much work is going to be your work is going to entail. Some people are already good writers, and so they really just need more of grammar correction and things of that nature. Some people are horrible writers, and you have to rearrange literally every sentence they write because they have no grammatical, they don't use any of the rules. All right. So normally I ask people to send me a sample of your writing and your work so I can realistically give you a time frame, right, as to when your project will be completed. This person, I already knew they had great writing skill. So I said, okay, go ahead, we'll take this project on. Now, what the person did not tell me, they did not tell me the content, the true content of what they were getting ready to write. And let's just say that by the time I got done editing, I felt ill after having edited their work. And I made a vow to myself that I will never again take on a project that violates my conscience, because all money is not good money. I'll never take on a project again that I could use my skill for it, but the project itself violates my conscience. And so that was a betrayal of skill, meaning that person knew that what they were writing was a violation of my conscience, but because they wanted to utilize my skill, they hid what their content was until the very end. All right. So that's a violation of skill. I encourage people, learn from me. And if you're in business, especially, check to make sure that what people want to contract you to do is not a violation of your conscience. You may have the skill to do it. All right. But make sure it's not a violation of your conscience. Here's another example. If someone wants to contract me to sing, I can sing. It's a skill. But I'm not going to be singing about sexing someone up. That's a violation of my conscience. Okay? So again, watch out for relationships in which people are trying to use your skill to get you to betray your own good and your own conscience. The second one, a betrayal of wisdom. How can someone betray your wisdom? And this is going to lead into Lady Porter's question. All right. How can someone betray your wisdom? A betrayal of wisdom is the refusal of advice. It is to be shut out when you can offer help and counsel. Let me give you an example. All right. Say a person is getting ready to start a business. All right. And you are already in business doing what they want to start. But they never ask you for help. They never ask you for advice. Matter of fact, they disappear for months. And you're like, where is this person? I wonder what's going on with them. You call them, no response. You inbox them, no response. You email them, no response. You say, hey, let's get together for fellowship, no response. Then they reappear again. They have formed a company that is very similar to what you're doing. They have started a board. They didn't ask you to be on it. All right. And so you're wondering, what happened? Did I do something wrong? Did I say something wrong? What's going on? That is a betrayal of wisdom. All right. You might feel some kind of way. You just might. But you have to understand what is the underlying reason behind why that person would do that. That's what you need to get to the bottom of. Sometimes, let me give you a few reasons, all right? Sometimes it can be the fear of competition. For some reason, many people have not figured out that you can be in the same field, doing the same thing, and still not be each other's competition. Do you know how many authors I know? A lot. We're not each other's competition. We have different reading spectrums. We have different people we're reaching. Some of us are in different genres. So I recommend people's books all the time. Why? Because I don't have a fear of competition. There are thousands, millions of books in the world. So I don't have a problem recommending someone else's work, especially because I realize that we're all reaching different kinds of people. And the people that I reach, somebody else might not be able to reach them. So there's no fear of competition there. So I don't mind referring people to other counselors, other coaches, other pastors. Like, I don't have a fear of competition. I know that what God has for me is for me. Another one is the fear of correction. Some people cringe at being corrected many times because there's a fear that if this person tells me I'm not doing something right, that they're trying to stop me from whatever, whether it's opening a business or whatever. All right. And then the third one is intimidation. They could literally be intimidated. And now I'm going to answer the question about, what do you do when people are intimidated by you? What do you do about that? All right. So real quick, betrayal of skill, all right, is using your skill for something that goes against your conscience. Betrayal of wisdom is people shutting you out, all right, and refusing to come to you for advice. They know you have the wisdom. They just don't want it from you. All right. So what do you do when people are intimidated by you? Remember, if someone has a fear of competition, the example that I thought of was ice cream. All right. Many of you down here could probably name several brands of ice cream, right? There's Bluebell. There's the two that I know are Bluebell and Breyers. I'm sure there's some more out there, right? Bluebell and Breyers are not in competition with each other. They sell the same thing, by the way, ice cream. Sometimes they also sell the same flavors, right? Some of us like Breyers. I'm a Breyers woman. I love Breyers ice cream when I do have it on the rarity. Oh yeah, and Haagen-Dazs, okay? I love me some Haagen-Dazs. I am not a Bluebell fan, but I have friends that absolutely love Bluebell, and they are Bluebell fanatics. Oh, and there's Ben and Jerry's. Thank you, Pastor. People are fanatics of Ben and Jerry's and Bluebell. To me, when I taste Ben and Jerry's ice cream, it tastes like cardboard to me. That's just me. When I taste Bluebell, it tastes really gritty, and I can feel that when I'm eating their ice cream. I like Breyers ice cream because it's very smooth and it goes down good. Guess what? They all sell ice cream. They all sell ice cream. And we could say they're in competition with each other, but really they're not, okay? Because they really do have different audiences for the people that like their ice cream. Some people like them all right? But they're not fighting each other. Oh my God, you have butter pecan. I have butter pecan too. I'm not talking to you anymore. Really? Seriously? Let's get over ourselves, all right? So, what do you do when people are intimidated by you? Do you just shake the dust off your feet and keep moving? Well, there's 3 things you need to do before you do that. All right? So what if you know for a fact that you are dealing with a person who is intimidated? And I cannot believe I have taken up the entire time on this subject, but I'm almost done. All right? Number 1, you evaluate the source. Evaluate the source of their intimidation. Are they fearful of your skill? Are they fearful of their own inadequacies? Okay? Have they been given a false or misleading perception about you? That goes back to the whisperer. All right? So if you know that a person is intimidated by you, evaluate before you kick them to the curb. Okay? I know that's the quick answer. But before you kick them to the curb, actually evaluate the source of their intimidation. See if you can discover what the source of their intimidation is. All right? They might be fearful of your skill. All right? They might be fearful of their own inadequacy. In other words, they are comparing what you do to where they are. Uh-oh. Listen, I have been painting and doing art since I was 9 years old. I don't expect someone to come along and have my level of skill in the arts. Now, some people are naturally gifted. Yes, we've seen the videos of the super artist kids that are drawing at, a high level of experience, but that's a supernatural gifting. Okay. So they might be looking at where you are versus where they are. They might be in comparison. So they might be looking at their own inadequacy, and therefore that might be what is stirring the intimidation. All right. Or they've been given false or misleading information about you, and so they are intimidated. All right. So let's look at those 3 things. Number 1, if they're fearful of your skill, you can actually assure them of their own skill and be willing to help them increase their skill. So that's one sort of scenario. Maybe it is, they're looking at your skill, and so they're intimidated, not realizing that you too can increase your skill. Okay? If they are focused on their inadequacies, get them to refocus on what they do well. Get them to refocus on what they do well. Sometimes people simply need esteem building, which reduces the feeling of being threatened by what they see. Sometimes people don't realize that they're speaking from a place of inadequacy. So you do have the option of building that person up and talking to them and speaking to them and encouraging them and really building up their esteem about what they actually can do and can accomplish. And the last one. Sometimes people are simply given false and misleading information. I wish I had $1 for every time somebody said to me, "Oh, you're not anything like what people say." And I really want to say, tell me what people said it. But I don't get into that. I just say, I am so glad that you got to know me for yourself and that you didn't just go off of what people said about me, okay? Because sometimes people do give false and misleading information, and so that could be the source of their intimidation. So, that being said, it may take time for them to recognize that they have been misled, that they've been given false information. So, you can actually give them a window of time. Now, I didn't say give them eons to figure it out, but you can give them a window of time, and if you see no change in their behavior, meaning they're still acting as though they're intimidated, then you can step back and you can ask God to do the revealing, because time and consistency have a way of revealing the truth about a thing. So if they're intimidated by you, but yet they're around you for a period of time and they realize, wait a minute, they're saying that this person is mean, that this person is not approachable, that this person is not teachable, but everything I've seen is contrary to what people have told me, right? If you give people the opportunity for time and consistency, many times they will change their mind and no longer be intimidated by you. If, however, after the truth, after time and consistency has played out, and they still are acting some kind of way that is not helpful to or beneficial to your life, I usually give people a 90-day window. I don't give people a whole lot of time to be acting crazy in my life. I just don't. All right? So if they're still acting funny, all right, then they could be heavily influenced by other people's perceptions. All right? And there's not much you can do about that. That's when you can say, okay, I'm going to step back. I'm going to keep it moving. This person is intimidated. They don't want my help. Obviously, their perception about me may be being influenced by somebody else. So I'm going to keep it moving. Again, you don't have to be negative about this. You don't have to be rude about it. You just keep it moving. All right. And just realize that there are some people who operate their life entirely from the spirit of intimidation. They don't connect to people that they feel intimidated by. Sometimes they don't know how to get over their intimidation. And some people don't like to be connected to people that they feel are on a higher level of understanding or skill than them. They like being around people who have lower skill sets than they do, because that keeps them feeling on top. So it's an esteem issue. All right. I am done for today. It has been another episode of Daring Dialogues, and I've been your host, Shantae Charles. I hope that I have said something today that will help you and add to your relationships, add to your understanding of people in general, add to your understanding of your family. Again, I encourage you, as we started out today's session, I'm going to go back to what the Lord said about our families, and that is, stop discounting your family, put your family on. That means support your family, and stop going outside of your family for resources that are right within your midst. And if you don't know what the resources are, this would be a good time to start asking the necessary questions. All right. I know with my family, we have several Facebook groups that have our family members in it. And I'm always asking what our family is doing. Who has business skills? Do you have a business, etc.? Because we do want to make sure that we are not skipping over people who are right in our family that we can help and support. Thank you again for your time and attention. We are going to continue the conversation on Periscope. So if you would like to join us there to hear our audience response, you can meet us over here at pscp.tv/Life Nation. We're headed to Periscope now, so if you're just tuning in, you can join us on Periscope for our audience response today. Take care.